So this is a little tutorial, an exercise demonstration on how you can enhance and customize the presentation of your pieces inside of a Google Site portfolio. And I've got a picture here that is nice, but I want to add some anecdote. And a lot of students make the mistake of going in there and trying to type their anecdotes, and they wind up filling up the space underneath. My take on this is use a table and use the real estate of the screen a little more efficiently. I'll show you what I mean right now, and then we're going to tweak that HTML out for the table to make it look even better. I'm going to go just before the picture, and I'm going to create a table by using Insert Table and making it 2 columns wide, only 1 row. And I can drag this information, this image, and place it inside the table. So now it gives me room to put anecdotes and information over to one side. And the anecdotes, there's a whole section on this. I would suggest you talk about why you did this piece, what the challenges were, what the highlights were, what you learned. Include the title, the date completed, and all that sort of stuff too. So I'm going to copy that and place it into the second cell in this table. And you can see it doesn't look very good to start out with. But now you start tweaking this and customizing it a little bit more. It's easy. Got an extra row in there. Go above the picture and hit the delete key, and that kind of locks it into the top left corner. The border of this, we're wasting all this space, so just click on the border. Sometimes you have to click a few times to find the little sizing handle, and take a couple of shots at this. Wow, getting lots of screen glitches. And if you have to, hit the save button, save as far as you've gotten, try editing again to get that border where you want it. I'm going to click it, and I drag it, and it's giving me fits on this. Till you finally get it. Rough on the interface, but just be persistent. You'll get it to work the way you want it to. So you can widen these things off, and you can also shrink it. Notice that it's left this thing all sort of stretched out, but you can drag this thing and shrink the size of it so everything fits nicely. Great. Hit save when you're happy. Oh, I can see I've also somehow gathered some extra information in there. So I'm going to edit it again. It's actually taken some stuff from the site itself and it's put it in the wrong place, so clean it up a bit. Now the next thing we want to clean up here is to customize the table. This is already looking good, and because I've got this in bullet form, it's lining up nicely. But if you try typing any information that isn't in bullets, you get a bad effect, and I'll show you that right now. This piece is called Flying Saucer Photoshop, spelled properly. The date I did this was March 2014, and the days to complete was 5. Something I don't like about the way the Google Site templates or tables work off the bat is that they don't have any margin around the inside of it. And good design would leave you a little space, like a picture frame. A little margin around the outside makes things look better. But you can learn some simple HTML that's going to let you customize exactly that margin and other things like color as well. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to hit HTML, that little button. I'm still in editing mode, and I'm going to find the table tag. Now, if you know your way around some of these tags, they control what shows up on a web page. You can find all sorts of resources online to explain how this works. You don't need to know HTML to make a Google site, but it sure helps if you want to tweak something like the cell padding. Cell padding is a very specific statement that when you put in a value, I've put in cell padding of 10 pixels. When I hit update, I get a margin around the outside of any contents of exactly 10 pixels. So everything lines up really, really nicely, and it's a lot easier on the eyes. There's another bit of HTML coding that I can add to this table that most people really like. It's called BGCOLOR. Color is spelt like an American color with no U. I'll put the equal sign in there. What we put inside of there, some people will go like this and just type in the word green. And lo and behold, green actually works. That's not good coding, but it does work. To get better control over green, you want to learn some hex tags, hex code for representing green. And a more controlled version of green would be to put inside those quotes hashtag, because all hex tags seem to start with that hashtag. And then you represent 3 colors, how much red, how much green, and how much blue you want to put into the color. And if I wanted green, well, I'd put in 00 FF 00. F is the highest hexadecimal number you can use. The hexadecimal number system goes from 0 to 9, and above 9 it goes A, B, C, D, E, F. So that gives you all those values to use to draw from. If I hit update, you can see it doesn't get much greener than that. So I've just got a different flavor of green that I can control. It's an ugly flavor. Let's not use that now that I've shown you how to do it. If you want to balance this thing out a little bit, let's add some red and blue in equal amounts, and that actually brings it up so it's closer to white. It's kind of like turning up colored spotlights on a stage. If we turn up the red and the blue to say AA and AA and hit update, what we get is a mintier green that's closer to white. If we actually turned it all the way to FF, 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 we'd get white. Now, if you want even more control over it, go do a Google search on HTML color pickers, and this one is particularly good. You can pick any flavor of green that you want and get the hexadecimal code, the hex code for it right down here. Just copy that code. There's the color of green you're going to get for it, and add it to that HTML. Substitute it in there instead of what we put, and you'll get something very, very precise. Make sense? Last little trick of this, that color can go wherever you want inside of whichever row or whichever cell you want. I applied it to the entire table by putting that color code right there after the table. If you wanted just to control the color for where, say, the text was, you'd have to identify where the text is stored. Now, table row means this is the start of the first row. We only have one row. Right after that, I have a table data, TD. And inside of there, if I were to drag this color code into that TD, leaving spaces at either sides of the color code, and hit update, you'll notice it just affects the frame around where the picture is. Likewise, if I wanted it just where the text was, and frankly that's where I think the better design would come in, I'm going to drag it and look for the next TD, and somewhere in here there's another TD statement. I see it right there. You got to look carefully, it's like needles in haystacks sometimes, but I found the second TD statement, and I was able to put the color exactly where I wanted it. And there's you playing around with this stuff. You can totally control the table if you know these tricks. Give it a try. Good luck.